Okay, so last step, we have written the equation, and now we actually have to solve and get like x equals a number. Okay, so how to solve? First of all, in Desmos, now I put a little screenshot of Desmos on here, but in Desmos, you need to make sure your calculator is in degree mode, because we measure our angles in degrees. So how do I check? Well, it's the default setting, but you need to make sure that on your keyboard right here that you see DEG, that means degree. Okay, so make sure it says degree on yours. So how do I solve? Well, it depends where the x is. Okay, that's what you're looking for, is where's the x in my equation? In this specific equation, my x is in the top. It's on the top of the fraction. So how am I going to solve it? I'm going to solve by multiplying. Well, what am I multiplying? I'm multiplying the things that I have that are not the x. Okay, so sine 26 and 13, I'm going to multiply them together. Now, when I multiply, just to make your life easier, you're going to take the number that's on the bottom, you're going to stick it in the front of whatever it says over here. So it's going to be 13 times sine 26. And we're going to type that in the calculator. So let's look at our calculator. So we're typing right here. We're typing 13 times. Now, how do I get sine to show up? Well, sine is right down there. Oh, so I'm going to push sine. And then it pops up parentheses. That's okay. We're going to put 26 in there. And we close parentheses. And then our number shows up over here. And oh my gosh, that's a lot of decimals. So for right now, I'm going to ignore this part over here. I'm going to put the whole number part and then point, and then I'm going to put two numbers after. So I'm going to put 5.69. So that equaled 5.69. And we need to round this. We're going to round to the nearest tenth unless they tell us otherwise. So we're looking at the 9. Does 9 make 6 bigger or keep it the same? It makes it bigger. So final answer, I get x equals 5.7. And that's how I actually solve. Okay, now we know not every equation has a sign in it, so just because you're multiplying doesn't mean you use sine. Whatever this says, whether it said sine or cosine or tangent, that is the button that you would push, because we know all of them are over there, sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay, so if your x is in the top, we're going to multiply. If the x is in the bottom of the fraction right here, like this one is, then we're going to divide. So what am I dividing? I'm dividing the things that I have left over. So how do I do that? Well, whatever's in the top of the fraction is going to stay in the top. And then you're going to take this, and that's what you're dividing by. So basically, you're switching spots of sine 59 and x. So divided by sine 59. So you can type it like this using the slash. We know that Desmos has the divide button, so it could look like 10 divided by sine 59 like this. But we're going to type this in. So let's look at Desmos. So we're going to enter that. 10 divided by sine 59, was it? 59. Close parentheses. And here's my answer over here, 11.66, blah, 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 blah. So we know we're going to use the two numbers after the decimal. We're going to write it down. So 11.66. 11.66. I look at the last number. Does it make this number bigger or keep it the same? Well, 6 makes it bigger. So final answer is 11.7. Okay. And we know we would type whatever this says, whether it said sine or cosine or tangent. Okay. And the last one's, well, sometimes our x is in the angle. Now, in this case, it says theta, but that means the same thing. What we're trying to solve for, sometimes we're trying to solve for an angle. So that means we're going to do inverse. So what does that mean? Well, that means that in our calculator, we're not just going to push sine, okay? In our calculator, if we look in our calculator at the bottom, we're going to have to push this thing that says function. And when we do that, this is going to pop up. This is inverse functions. That's what they're going to look like, okay? So for this one, since it said sine, it's going to turn into sine to the negative 1 power. And then I'm going to type the fraction, 6 over 26. So let's actually type that. Here we go. So we're going to push enter on that. So I don't see to the -1. I don't see my inverse functions there. So I'm going to push function. I'm going to tell this thing to go away. And I want the inverse of sine. So now I push sine. And now I'm typing that fraction that was over there. So 6 over 26. 6 over. Whoa! What's happening? What's happening? I don't want this fraction. There we go. So inside the parentheses, I want 6 slash 26. 6 divided by 26. Close parentheses. And our answer is over here, 13.34. So we're going to write that down. This is our theta, is 13.34. Does 4 make 3 bigger or keep it the same? It's going to keep it the same. So that's 13.3. Final answer. If this said cosine or tan, then instead of sine to the -1, it would say cosine to the -1. And we saw that that was an answer in here, okay? So you guys are going to go start and you're going to solve your equations and actually get an answer this time.